All right. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else. I'm looking forward to digging into ways that you can utilize online marketing to grow your business. I want to give you a lot of things that you can take away, give you some things to think about, and tips that you can use to help build your business. And we're also going to look at some high level things. I'd like to try to keep this as interactive as possible. I'm assuming you all can hear me. I did not check that, but I'm pretty sure you all can hear me. If you can hear me and see my screen, that would be awesome. If you could just maybe throw a one in the chat to let me know. I see a thumbs up coming from Chris. If you guys, super, I see another thumbs up. Excellent. Okay, super. Thanks for that feedback. Appreciate it. I would hate to stand here and talk for an hour to nobody. Not like that would be a waste of time, but anyways, welcome. We just had someone else rolling in. Welcome, Ashley. We're just getting started here. If you have any questions, let me just go ahead. I've got a couple housekeeping things. If you have any questions, let's keep it interactive. If you want, turn your cameras on. If you don't have a camera, that's okay too. If you have like kind of an on-topic question as I'm talking about something, feel free to throw it in the chat. I have it right here on my screen. I'm going to try to keep an eye on it. If it's an off-topic question that's related to online marketing, I will be giving you an opportunity at the end of the webinar to be asking those questions. So just go ahead and save them, and then we can even unmute and have some questions at the end as well. But like I said, if it's like an on topic, I'll try to keep an eye on my chat right here and answer those as we're going along. All right, let's talk about a bit of a high level plan for our webinar. So first of all, we are going to work at setting clear goals for your shop. Now, you might be an owner, you might be a manager, whatever you are, I'd like you to spend a little bit of time today thinking about goals. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some high level online marketing for your shop. Why online marketing, budgeting, things like that. And then we're going to dive into tips for unlocking growth at your shop through your online marketing. And lastly, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about what should you focus on first to reach your shop goals. What's that low-hanging fruit? All right, a little bit about who I am. As most of you probably know, I'm Daniel Burkholder. I kind of grew up in this auto body collision repair industry. My dad started an auto body shop back in the 80s. And so I grew up playing in the shop. I ended up working mostly in management in the shop for quite a number of years up until 2021, and then pivoted into sales and marketing. And so now I'm the founder of Body Shop Marketing. We are a fairly young business, a fairly new business. We started in the summer of 2023, so we're going on a year old. And so that is a little bit about me. Like I said, I feel like I grew up in the collision repair industry because I played in the shop, managed the shop. I love getting back into the shop. I'm actually headed out on the road tomorrow to a client's shop, so that's going to be fun. All right, let's move on to the next slide. As you know, today's subject is unlocking growth, online marketing tips for your shop, how to leverage your shop's online presence to grow. All right, so on to the setting clear goals. My first step in this is for you to determine where you are at and where you want to go, because it's really tough to go somewhere if you don't know where you're at. And I also know when you're in the shop, potentially as an owner, as a manager, it's easy to lose sight of the big picture because you're busy running the shop from day to day and you get buried in the tasks of doing that. I'm sure most of us can sympathize with that feeling here today. So think a little bit about where you are and where you want to go, because as you know, clear goals are like wind in your sails. It helps to keep you moving forward on those good days, on the bad days. It helps you to stick at it long term. All right, I'm just going to give you a minute to look at this. So this gives you a bit of a snapshot of where you are currently. What is your average monthly revenue? What is the average number of repairs completed per month? And a few other metrics are, what is your average severity per repair in dollars? Is it 3,000, 5,000, 8,000? What's the percentage of DRP jobs versus independent? Is it 20%, 50%, 70%? Maybe some of you guys are entirely independent, so it's basically 100%. And how many techs do you have out in the shop? So where do you want to go? You've looked a little bit about where you are. What's your long-term vision, 12 months, 24 months out? Where would you like to be with your annual revenue? Maybe you would like to up your number of ROs per month. Maybe you'd like to add an additional 100,000. So I guess really what we need to think about today is, so does your online marketing support your goals? If it doesn't, now I'm going to be giving you some good help here on how to change this. In the next slide here, on the next two slides, actually, I'd like to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room. And that is, how much should I be spending on marketing? And I know there's no perfect answer. There's no easy button for this. Traditionally, many shops have spent very little money on marketing their shops, but times are changing, and we're seeing a shift in that. So let's just think a little bit about, in these next two slides, I'd like you to ponder a little bit about your marketing budget. I have no idea where you shops are on your budgets. Maybe you're spending zero, maybe you're spending $5,000 per month, maybe you're spending 10, maybe you're spending 20. Wherever you are, this is a really good consideration to think about. Let's just think through this scenario. So you want to add another 100,000 per month in revenue, and your average severity is $8,000. I'd like you to try to fit this into your shop. I know this is all hypothetical numbers that I've got here because I don't know your specific situation. So I just did a little bit of math. To add 100,000 per revenue, if your average severity is $8,000, you need to have 13 new repair orders coming through the shop per month. If your closing rate from your team at your front desk is sitting around 50%, which I think is a little poor, but let's say they're just closing at 50% from an estimate or a lead to repair order. That means you're gonna have to be bringing in 26 new leads per month to reach your $100,000 goal. See the math there? It's a fairly simple equation if you wanna walk through, okay, how many more leads do I need to hit my target? Now I'm gonna throw out here on this next slide, I'm gonna give you a bit of some percentages. These are a rule of thumb, and like I said, there's no easy button and there's no perfect answer, but this is a bit of a rule of thumb based on how aggressively you want to grow. So if you're looking to maintain your market share, which I'm suspicious most of us here on this call are not just looking to maintain, we actually want to grow, a recommended amount of average annual revenue would be 5% to maintain your market share. For moderate growth, you're looking at about 6 to 15% for moderate growth. For aggressive growth, you're looking at about 15% spent on your marketing budget. And here again, like I said, no easy answer. A couple other factors that you should probably think about is if you're independent and you don't have DRPs, if you're heavily reliant on DRPs, that's going to definitely affect your marketing budget. Or are you up against some large consolidators or large corporate stores in your town or in your city? Those are a few things to consider when you're thinking about budget. All right, so now since we got that elephant out of the room, let's go on to here again. Remember, we're talking about high level for your online marketing tracking. This is so key to running a successful online marketing program. We definitely need to be tracking where our leads are coming from. And I should say, this isn't just for online, this is for any marketing, whether it's, I've listed out a few here, whether it's your website, your Google business profile, any type of pay-per-click campaigns like Google ads, geofencing, Facebook ads. What about your social media, your DRPs, referral, word of mouth? Where are your leads coming from? I know it's challenging to get this information, but very important to be trying to track where these people are coming from. And even if you're a DRP shop, it's good to track where these are coming from because, as you know, DRPs typically are working for a discount, which I would kind of consider as their marketing budget. They're giving their marketing budget to the insurance company to send them work, is kind of how I view it. All right, I think there's one more slide here. Why online marketing? I'm sorry, two more slides. What is the goal of online marketing? It's to bring in more leads. It's to, and here, these are somewhat changeable for your situation, maintain your market share, grow your annual revenue, beat the competition, prepare for the future, or maybe you're even looking to drop some of your DRPs and become less reliant on them and more independent customer based. And here's another slide. I don't know if you can see that graphic very well. It is an effort to show you why online marketing, to get in front of the right people at the right time. So let's say somebody was in a collision. They call their insurance company. The insurance company tries to steer them to a certain shop. They're skeptical. They jump online and they start doing some of their own research. That is when you want to be in front of them right then when they are searching for collision repair shop, for auto body shop, whatever they're searching, that's where you want to be. And ideally, you want to be getting there organically. As you can see on the graphic, we have the paid section at the top, the sponsored Google ads at the top. We have the organic results. And then we also have the local organic results down at the very bottom, which you can barely see. All right, let's jump into tips. Is everybody tracking with where I'm going, with what all I've been saying so far? Maybe you don't mind just throwing in a little bit of feedback just to make sure that I'm still good to go before we jump into the tips. All right, well, I'm not seeing any feedback, but that's okay. I'm assuming everything's still working. Okay, super. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the feedback. Ashley, Mike, Julie. Perfect. Let's go into the tips. Here is the tip overview. I plan to look at this in 6 segments: what your website, your Google business profile, your Facebook, Yelp, Carwise, and Google pay-per-click campaigns. Definitely not conclusive, and I'm not going to talk about every single tip because I would overwhelm you. And some of these tips are too technical for just the average shop owner or manager to do. But the ones that I'm going to try to give you are mostly ones that you can do, especially if you're a little bit good with technology, with operating these platforms. All right, let's talk about website tip number one, and let me just get this a little bit bigger so I can see it as well. There we are. Your on-page SEO, let me explain a little bit here. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. And I sometimes get the question, are you just optimizing for Google? Google definitely gets most of the attention because they control right around 90% of the search engine market. So yes, Google does get most of the attention. Obviously, you have other search engines out there, and it is important to remember those as well. Now, let me explain on page. I'll explain it this way. There are three different types of SEO. You have on page, which is actually the words that you see on your website. It's the content that you can see on the face of your website. Then you have the technical SEO, and that is what is kind of hidden back behind the webs on the back side of the website that you can't see, that you have to log in through the admin portion of the website and actually get into kind of the engine and the transmission of the website. That's technical SEO. And then you have also off-page SEO, and that is things like your Google business profile. Anywhere on the internet that there's information about your business that is pointing back to your website, to your Google business profile, that is off-page SEO. This part right here, that was a long way to explain. This part is on-page SEO. This is about what you actually see. Here are some things you want to have on your website. You want to have pages for each of your services. Now, I'm not saying, well, let's just say, for example, you polish headlights and you tint windows and you install custom bumpers and I have no idea, all these other little services that you provide. I would not recommend having a page for one of those services, but you definitely want to have pages for the services that you're looking to rank for. I would say things like collision repair, auto body, maybe it's glass replacement, maybe it's paintless dent repair, having service pages for each of those. And you're looking to have at least 500 words per page. And here again, this is all for SEO. It's all Google is crawling this and looking at this. They want to see at least 500 words of content for each of your service pages. And I also would highly recommend having service area pages. This is probably more for rural shops. If you are in one city, and let's say you also service some other communities around you, where I would highly recommend is developing service area pages for each of the communities around you that you serve. Maybe it's a 20-mile radius, maybe it's a 40-mile radius. Here again, what we're doing is we're sending signals to Google that we serve these areas as well, not just the community where our shop is located. And a few quick tips on those pages. You want to have original content for each of the pages, not all the 5 service area pages having the same content just with the town name switched. Google's going to catch that and they're not going to rank it. So you definitely want to have unique content for each of the pages. Here again, at least 500 words. So those are a couple really fantastic tips for your on-page SEO. And it looks like I covered off both of those. And also here's one more, optimizing the titles, the H1s, the URLs. That is getting a little bit more into the technical portion of your website. Let's go into tip number 2. Your website performance is very critical. How many of you have logged on to a website? Let's say you were looking for some services on your phone and you find you are on there, maybe on their Google business profile, you click on their website, it starts loading up and it takes about 20 seconds to ever get any content on the page. I'm sure probably all of us have had this experience and none of us like it. So Google actually is watching this and they will push you down in the rankings if your website performance is not good. Now you can see I have a graphic here on this slide. It is using a free tool that you can use. So I would say either take a picture of this or jot this down. You just go to pagespeed.web.dev and you put your shop's website domain into the report and you run that report, and it'll take a few minutes to generate, and you can see more information than just the performance of your website. But over here on the left-hand side, it's really good to see at least somewhere in the 90 to 100. I'm going to throw this into the chat for any of you that are wondering. So it is www.pagespeed.web.dev. And that is a free tool that you can use. Just go in there, put your shop's website domain in, and you can check out your shop's performance. You can also, like I said, you can check out some other things as well. Very critical to your shop's ranking is the website performance. And if it's performing low, there is a host of reasons. And here again, a lot of these would be more technical than what you're looking for. You would probably have to hire somebody, either your website developer or a marketing agency, to get that dialed in for you. Let's go into tip number 3. This one is about your shop's website authority and link building strategy. Here again, this one I'm barely scratching the surface because a lot of this is more technical than what you guys want to get today. But here's a couple things that you can work on as shop owners and managers. Try to get your shop listed on every local business directory that you can find. Every single one. You want to be on them all. The only thing I'm going to tell you is absolutely make sure the information that you're giving to these online directories is identical to what your Google business profile says. If it isn't, Google will pick that up, and they don't like that. They want to see consistent information across all the online directories. So that is one tip that you can do, is work at getting your shop listed on every local business directory you can think of in your city, and even you can go broader to national online directories, things like Yellow Pages, BBB. There's just a host of them that you can try to get listed on. Another way you can work at building your website authority is to start creating blogs for your shop. And a good strategy is to try to cover local auto body topics. Obviously, you want to really dial it in for your shop's keyword phrases. One thing I would note here is don't go buy cheap backlinks. It can be tempting to do that because it seems like an easy, quick fix to get this number right here, this link count higher than 149. But typically those cheap backlinks, they have no authority with Google, and Google, they will check that and it won't help your shop rank at all. So it's just a waste of money buying cheap backlinks. Backlink building and website authority building is a slow process. It takes time, especially to do it correctly and with high authority. Let's go into tip number 4. This is tracking your website analytics. I would highly recommend, and I just took 2 screenshots here of Google Analytics and the Google Search Console. Both of these tools are free. You can create your own accounts if you don't have them already. Set up your website inside Google Analytics and in Google Search Console. So then you can start tracking, you can start seeing how many people are coming to the website, how long are they visiting the website, what pages are they visiting on the website. The Google Search Console will help you see things like what search phrases are people using to find you. So those are 2 really easy tools and tips that you can use. You can do them today. They're easy to set up. Also, here's one that's maybe a little more technical, but to set up a call tracking phone number on your website so you can start tracking where the phone calls are coming from. And I would also recommend setting one up on your Google business profile. You may know this or you may not know this, but Google here as of July 31st, so in about a month and a half, they are discontinuing the phone call tracking service that they've been providing in their Google business profile. So that is going to be going away, and they're not going to be giving us any tools to track the phone calls that are coming from your Google business profile. So if you want to keep doing that, you're going to need to set up your own call tracking phone number in there. Those are the 4 tips that I have for your website. If you have any questions around that, just hit me up. I am going to talk briefly because I like trying to tie together why we do what we're doing to help you have a better understanding. Here is a report, a ranking factor that WhiteSpark did back in 2023. So it is about half a year old, a year to year and a half old. Google doesn't release this information to us. They don't want us knowing this kind of thing. So of course, any of these reports are a little bit of speculation, trying to look at what's going on. The reason I show you this is for the local organic search, you can see here that 62% of the signals come from your website. So your website is important in the midst of your online marketing. You can see 36% coming from on-page signals, 26% coming from link signals. So that has to do with your website domain authority, 9% coming from behavioral signals. And then we get into like the Google business profile. So that's really a local organic ranking search. Now I'm going to go on to Google business profile. If you were on last month's webinar, you are going to recognize some of these slides because we dove deep into your Google business profile, and that's what we spent the whole webinar on. I picked out about, I think it's around 5 tips from the Google business profile webinar of last month. These are worth working on. So if you were here last month, you're going to recognize this. Tip number 1, carefully fill out all your information. Here again, make sure it's accurate, it's correct, it matches all the other online directories, because Google, this is what they're basing all their information off of when they compare it with other online directories, is what's right here on your Google business profile. One note I would make is make sure you're in the correct primary business category, and that is auto body shop. You don't want to be an auto repair shop because that's category for mechanic shop. Unless you are a mechanic shop as well as an auto body shop, then you would have to choose if it's primary or secondary. Another thing I would highly recommend is writing a detailed business description right here, including the main keyword phrases that you're looking to rank for. And also, I believe it's right down here towards the bottom. I can't quite see it. There's a spot where you can link all your social media channels as well, which is kind of a cool feature that Google added a few months back. Tip number 2, utilize the question and answer section on your Google business profile. So you can go in and feed your own FAQs. You can ask questions and answer them. It's a great way to send signals to Google about what you rank for, and also to get information on your Google business profile. Make the content more rich on your profile. And of course, you want to be working towards including those keyword phrases, like this example that I have. Do I need to take my wrecked car to the collision repair shop? Did you see that phrase, collision repair shop? That's what you want to rank for. Do I need to take my wrecked car to the collision repair shop? My insurance recommends. Tip number 3, post regularly to your shop's Google business profile. If you have, I don't know if you have any social media program that you're running at your shop where you're posting on social media every day of the week or a couple times a week. I have no idea. What I would recommend is, if you do, just tie this Google business profile posting right into your social media program. It's a great way to send signals here again to Google to know what to rank your shop for. And you can use things like before and after photos, highlighting different services. Here again, I'll just reiterate, include those main keyword phrases that you're looking to rank for. And if you want to make it more attention grabbing, is to include photos. I highly recommend using photos from your shop and not photos that you find online somewhere of someone else's shop. We all like that authenticity of actually seeing the shop and the staff there. Tip number 4, add information to your Google business profile. You know what? I made a mistake. I can't believe that. I gotta be human or what? I wish I was like AI and never made mistakes. Oh no, I guess AI makes mistakes. Um, that is not what I intended to have there. What I was meaning to say there was to add services in the product section. This is getting a little creative, but this is using the product section. And I don't know if your screen is big enough where you can see it. There's a section in the admin portion of your Google business profile. You can add products. Go in there and build out things like, if you offer free estimates, build out a product for free estimates, add a picture, add some details, whatever type of kind of package you can put together. I obviously wouldn't put any pricing in there, whether it's a collision repair package, a detailing package, a winterization package for the body of the car, whatever. I'm just trying to be creative. That's a little tip that you can do to help send signals to Google. And my last tip for the Google business profile is to get reviews. Customers love reviews, so Google loves them too. These reviews help to give us social proof. They make us feel better about where we're thinking of going. So actively be asking for reviews and ensure that you're replying to these reviews. It's nice if people don't just leave a 5-star, they actually tell us about the experience. So maybe ask them to share a little bit about their experience. And then you want to try to reply within around 24 hours to those reviews. And let's go to that report that I showed you before, but this time I want to show you the one about the local finder pack. So this is in the Google Maps. You're going to see here that your Google business profile is important because 56% of the signals coming and the ranking factors are coming from your Google business profile. And oh, that's hilarious, Derek. Good job. 32% of your Google business 32% are coming from the actual Google business profile. So here, this is all about how to set up the post update, those types of things. And then the on-page signals are coming from your website. And then we have 16% coming from review signals. So remember, reviews, 16% of the signals are coming from reviews. So they're not the only thing, but they are a large portion of a way that you can help to get your Google business profile ranking better. All right, I have a few tips. Actually, I think it's maybe about 2 tips here for Facebook. I don't have a ton here, but one thing you can do is fill out all your account information, try to optimize that as best you can. One thing that I would suggest doing is here in the service area section, add all the areas that you service, not necessarily just the community you are in. And then I would also suggest work at getting some Facebook reviews. Now, I don't really have a good strategy. You're gonna have to work on this a little bit of how you can get those specifically on Facebook. If you were going to prioritize reviews, I would highly prioritize the Google ones, but I think it is nice having a handful to a dozen great reviews on Facebook as well. And Facebook tip number 2 is to keep active with posting. I would recommend at least 3 times a week. And like I mentioned before in the Google business profiles, use pictures from your shop. We all like to see the staff, the facility, maybe before and after repairs. They're actually coming from the shop. So use authentic photos. Another thing that I would highly recommend utilizing is the SCRS has a YouTube channel and they are posting consumer tips there, not every day, but occasionally they will post a handful of them. They're free for you to use. They're great for helping to educate your consumer on things to be looking for, correct repairs. So that's a great little place to grab information You can post about those YouTube videos. You can link them right there in your Facebook. Let's go talk about Yelp a little bit. So I don't know how many of us out there actually use Yelp. I personally am not a Yelp fan. I don't know that I've ever really used Yelp. Apparently there are people that do. The reason I'm recommending that you at least optimize your Yelp profile is, see this screenshot that I took, and I forget which city I made my browser to be in when I took this, and it's too small on my screen to see, but whatever the case, it doesn't really matter. Oh, look at that, Houston, Texas, I see it now. Look at this organic result. This is not a paid position where Yelp is. This is right under, so up above here, above the screenshot, if I remember correctly, there was some sponsored ads for collision repair shops in Houston. Then we had the Google Map pack right here, and right below, so starting on the desktop organic portion of the search results was Yelp. That's why I recommend that you have a Yelp profile. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. Go in there, claim your business, put some pictures in. Because of the position where Yelp sits, they are typically one of the top search results. And here again, it depends from city to city. So I've talked about most of this already. Go in, claim your business listing, add some photos. And here again, I would probably try to get a handful to a dozen of good 5-star reviews. So maybe handpick some people that you know really love your shop and they're willing to go a little bit the extra mile to go and leave you a Yelp review as well. And I have one tip for CarWise. So I don't know how many CCC1 users we've got on the call today, but if you are one of those users, definitely claim your free CarWise profile, fill out all the information, add photos, and here again, work at getting a nice amount of reviews there as well, because it does help. If I was to, here again, like I mentioned before, if I was to prioritize your review strategy, would be to put my main emphasis on Google, but these others are good as well. All right, we are just about done. I think we're on the last category here, Google pay-per-click campaign. And I have a couple tips here. So let's say you're spending $2,500, $5,000. I have no idea what you're spending per month on your PPC, your pay-per-click campaigns. But if you're spending any amount of money, you really want to optimize it for our ROI. So the step number one to a good campaign is this gets done long before the campaign starts. You want to do some really thorough keyword research and really keep dialing in that keyword research as the campaign is running as well. And one thing you definitely want to be running is negative keywords. So things like, I just have in here, cheap bumper repair. I don't know about you, but I'm guessing most of you on the call don't like people that are calling looking for a $200 repair on their front bumper cover. That's not what you want to be ranking for on the pay-per-click campaign. So put that in as a negative keyword, potentially even putting your own shop name, because if people are directly searching in the Google search for your shop, let's say they punch in Absolute Collision, you don't want your pay-per-click campaign coming up and then them clicking on that because they're directly searching you. And just tip number 2 is track some more. Here's a couple things that you can do to help track this is set up a little custom landing page for the pay-per-click campaign. If you don't do that, maybe set up, if you're not going to run a custom landing page, which is fine, you don't necessarily need to. That is a good way of really dialing in, tracking your pay-per-click campaign. At the very least, where whatever page on your website you're sending people to, make sure you have a call tracking phone number on there, and any type of forms that you might have them filling out on that page that you're sending them to, make sure that is tracked. So you can start tracking not just the click-through rate from the ad to your website, but then you can also start tracking, are the people actually turning into a converted lead where they're filling out a form, they're getting on the phone and calling you, and then obviously it's up to your front end staff to then close that lead into a repair order. All right, guys, I have went through all of my tips. I'd like you just to spend a minute, and I hope you had an aha moment somewhere through here where you're like, this is what I want to focus on first. This is the lowest hanging fruit. This is something we can really dial in, because it's going to help you plan your focus, but make sure to keep your focus around that long-term vision to grow your, whatever it is, maybe it's your annual revenue, maybe it's the number of ROs per month. Does your online marketing support your long-term goals? And here I just have a spot where we can think a little bit about what are those top things that you can do. Because ultimately, all these activities are to grow your shop. And what would it mean to you? Maybe you're the owner, maybe you're the manager. What would it mean to you if you could hit those goals in the next 12 to 24 months? We all know that great feeling of winning. So use your online marketing to help you meet those goals. Or maybe you're in a position where like, this is overwhelming, I need some help. That is where I can potentially help you. I've got a couple free resources that I'm going to show you here in the next slide. If you go to my website, we have a checklist here that you can download and you can use to help you see where you're at with your online marketing. I'm also offering a free SEO strategy session. Basically what this is, and you can scan that QR code if you're interested, you can call me, you can reach out to me if you're interested. Basically what we do is we do some deep research on how you're ranking against your competition, how you're ranking for the main keyword phrases, really looking at these reports, looking at the keywords, looking at how you're doing, and helping you develop a strategy from there. So any of you on this call, more than happy to do that for you. If you just reach out, you can schedule that right from that QR code. Another way we could do this is you could hire our business to do this for you. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we do here at Body Shop Marketing. This isn't intended to be much of a sales pitch, but I am just going to inform you a little bit about what we do here. We are an online marketing agency specifically for collision repair shops and odd body shops. Our 6 main, and these are not necessarily in order of importance, but you have what we call the auto site, and that is an optimized website built just for your shop. And then we have Auto Boost, and that is search engine optimization, and I almost like to call it online presence management better because it just encompasses your online presence. We have Auto Link, which gives you the ability to have a chat widget on your website. It gives you two-way text messaging with your potential customers and your customers. It also gives you the ability to automate your Google reviews, collecting those, and gives you a reputation management system. We also have auto capture, and that is our geofence program. I don't know how many of you are familiar with geofence, but I'm not going to dive deep into that. Number 5, we have the auto click, which is our pay-per-click website retargeting program. And we have auto social, which is your social media management. So that's a little bit about what we do here at Body Shop Marketing, is managing this for our client shops. I see I have somebody, Wendell is requesting to go back to the QR page. There you are, Wendell. Just go ahead and scan that. All right, there we are. Okay, I'm ready for your questions, guys. I appreciate you sitting there for so quietly and nicely for the last 45 minutes and listening to me. You have any questions about what we talked about, any of the tips, anything that we didn't talk about, I can, if you would like to put it in the chat, or if you would like to unmute yourself and ask away. I think I've said it here that you can unmute yourself. And Mr. Tim, can you show the last slide? Yes, I can. Is that the one you're referring to, Tim? Okay, perfect. Any questions from any of you?
What did you say the number was on the page speed insights deal to look for? Our SEO is 92, but the performance is like a 77.
I would say, Chris, anywhere sitting at the kind of 90 to 100 range, obviously the higher the better. You definitely want to be in the 90s for your performance.
Got it.
I like to see all green across all four of those, ideally.
It says the total blocking time was kind of the red at 970 milliseconds. I guess that's what that means.
You bet. Yeah, and there again, Chris, like I mentioned, there's so many different things that can affect that ranking, or sorry, that speed, that it's probably over all of our heads here. We'd really need somebody that could dial that in really well. But I've definitely seen a whole lot worse than 70. I've seen the whole way down to like in the 30s for performance. So that's really, really poor. I've got a question here from Anna. How do you choose the correct marketing company? Many come in and make promises, ... That is an awesome question. I don't know how to answer that. Maybe we've got some wise people here on the call that could help answer that. How do you choose the correct marketing company? Many come in and make promises. Maybe, Anna, what I would tell you, and here again, this is coming from a marketing agency company. What I would really want to learn from them, what I would want to see from them, me trying to get into the consumer position, into your position, what would I want? I would really want to have a strong relationship with, whether it's my account manager, whoever it is that's managing our account, having a really strong relationship with them, and they have a really strong understanding of your business and your industry. Also, how are they going to quantify what they are doing? Because, like, marketing can be a lot of smoke and mirrors. It can be a lot of promises, but you're never quite sure if you're seeing what you're seeing. Well, I don't know if that's making
Daniel.
Yes, Anna.
Yeah. So, hey, how are you? So that's what I've been kind of experiencing. So we're a full service collision shop, and we also do mechanical work. So I'm part of this Chamber of Commerce. Great, great group. This guy, I do advertising. I can make this. He comes in with this presentation, and I can do this, and we're gonna do this. And then I'm looking, and I'm like, it's month 3. He's about to auto bill me, and he's like, oh, I'm still redoing your website. We had hiccups. I'm like, dude, 3 months? I could have probably billed it with my 16-year-old from class. Oh, I'm like, I'm not running Google ads yet. I'm paying you this money. What's going on? And then I'm like, look, you can't post stuff on my social media before you clear it with me, because you're clearly not from a body shop world. You don't know the lingo. You can't make a poster saying, hey, we give you a free estimate on paint work. I'm not a painter. We're in the refinish, but you know what I mean? So having a company that does your advertising and not even proofreading stuff, it's a problem. I'm like, yes, the layman's term is paint work, but you want to be accurate in the field. You know what I mean? And I'm already frustrated and it's month 3. And I'm like, and the question is, how much do you pay? And that's always like that weird, elephant in the room. But at this point, I'm like, I don't know if I want him for free. And he goes, if you can't get anything done, if we're not making numbers, I'll work for you for free. I don't even want him for free at this point, because my 16-year-old made me a nicer flyer for static posts than his people. So what does that tell me? You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's very frustrating.
Right. I can, yes. And I'm not sure, Anna, it sounds like you've got a bit of a predicament there.
But we can discuss this later, at a
Yeah,
different time, because
yeah.
I'm sure other people have different things they want to talk about. But
No, I would say probably just back a few of those things that I mentioned is, do they have industry knowledge? You alluded to that. Do they, and I guess, yes, some clear expectations up front. And I'm sorry that you're struggling with this, but yeah, definitely, Anna, let's stay in touch, and more than happy to discuss it more. I see a couple others. Have we got any questions in there? All good, thank you. Love tracking, perfect. Excellent answer, Ashley. Thank you for chiming in. It really depends on your budget and who can help you with what you're personally looking for. Results will tell it all too. You should be able to see results within 90 days. Honestly, we are collision mechanical and towing here, so we understand the challenge in finding the right fit. Excellent. We did find someone who comes from the collision industry and works for this industry. Perfect. Great answer, Ashley. Right on. Did you have any other questions for me before we end this call? Well, I don't want to cut anybody off, but if you're all good to go, I appreciate it. And let's stay in touch. You bet. You've got my information. You've got my email address. Just reach out. I'm happy to follow up some more with you guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming out. And I plan to do another one next month. If there's anything you'd like to see me talk about, discuss more, just hit me up, let me know. I'm more than happy for ideas, because I really want to talk about what you guys want to know and really are facing. So hit me up. I'm going to be doing one. I believe it's around July 20. I'd have to go back and look at my calendar to nail that down. Right on. You're welcome, Julie. Nice seeing you here again. All right. Well, we'll take care, and you guys take care. We'll look forward to seeing you maybe next month.